Zucchini is popular in the summertime, although it is technically a fruit. Who knew? It's often prepared as a vegetable. In this segment, Jessica gets a history lesson and a recipe. Take a look.
We're very excited to welcome our next guest back to Virginia this morning. Mary Rapoport with the Virginia Egg Council is with us and welcoming us into her home kitchen. It's great to see you, Mary.
Been using this kitchen a lot lately.
That's right.
Awful lot. I guess everyone is, right? You better like your kitchen these days.
That's right. We're rediscovering an old friend and or getting used to one that we've been working with a while. But you've got some great recipes for a vegetable that right now we have coming out of our ears, zucchini.
Zucchini.
Zucchini is the magical ingredient.
Right. If anyone has ever planted one zucchini plant, it's just like magic. All of a sudden, it's just huge. And let me tell you a little bit about a zucchini plant. This is a zucchini plant right here. I don't know if the folks can see it very well, but when I purchased it, I counted, it had 14 blossoms. That's a lot of blossoms on a plant this size. So I'm really not into the zucchini growing business. I can buy zucchini at the store for 99 cents a pound, and it's wonderful. But what I am interested in is the blossoms. Have you ever eaten a zucchini blossom?
I have, and I'm so glad that we are talking with you because you bring up a great point. I kept looking. I was gifted some zucchini and squash plants this season, and I thought too, you don't have any trouble getting them. Is this what I want to grow? But I kept looking at those blossoms, and I thought I could eat those if only I knew how.
Well, I'm going to teach you how. In fact, you can buy these online, and the blossoms, the ones that I saw, cost $75 for 25 of them. So if you don't feel like you want your plant for the actual zucchini, go ahead and harvest. And these, I've just harvested. When I say harvest, I just pick them off. Now I want to show you this. If you want both the zucchini and the blossoms, there's a difference. Can you see this if I hold this up? This has a really skinny stem, and this has a fat stem. The one that's the fat stem is the female. It has nothing to do with females being fat, but the fat stem turns into the zucchini. The skinny stemmed blossom, it'll just end up falling off. So if you want to just harvest these and leave these for the zucchini, then you've got both. But what I do, Jessica, is I just put them in a Tupperware container like this, and I keep them for when I want to make zucchini blossom fritters. This is an Italian delicacy. It is.
How long will they keep? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's okay. They'll keep in a Tupperware container for a week in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay,
great. I haven't tried freezing them. My guess is they wouldn't freeze well. And then just before you want to use them, you just slosh them around a little bit of salty water. Always salty water with things coming in from the outside, because if there are any bugs on them, the bugs don't like the salt. And they'll just, get off. So I've got my zucchini, my blossoms right here. And before I go ahead and start, I'm going to go ahead and get one going in this little skillet. I have about 1/4 of an inch of oil, and what I'm using is coconut oil. Do you ever use that, Jessica?
I do. Yep, I have it at the ready.
Yeah, it's what you do. If you've never used it before, it's very thick, and you just kind of scoop it out and put it in there. It's not as thick as like shortening. Remember the old-timey Crisco shortening. It's, in fact, in a warm kitchen, it will be a little bit, a little fluid. So I've got that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and get one going while we're doing this. And I'm just putting 2 tablespoons of the blossom fritters in there, and it's going to get going. So to begin with, we have 2 eggs that I've beaten up with a whisk. A teaspoon of oil, and I'm just using olive oil because that's what I had handy, but you could use any kind of oil. 1/4 of a cup of flour, 1/4 of a cup of whatever kind of milk, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. That just gives it a little bit of rise. And because this is sort of an Italian thing, a little bit of garlic. tiny bit of salt and pepper, and then for a bite, just a little bit of red pepper. This is fresh basil. Now, I do plant fresh basil in my garden because I use it all summer long, but if you don't plant it, you can buy it at the grocery store. That's about a half a cup of that. And then you take the blossoms like this, and you just cut them up. Again, this has been washed in salty water, and I just cut it right up to the very, very tip like that. And I've got a half a cup of the blossoms in here, and you mix it up. Super easy. What I do is I plan the whole meal, and then just before we sit down, I actually make the fritters so that they're nice and hot. Again, like I showed you before, you take this is a 1/4 of a cup measure, and so I want a half of that. I'm going to put it in a little bit of this, the melty coconut oil. This one needs to be flipped. Okay, and then that does that. When it's done, you just, like anything that you're frying, you put it on paper towels like this. And then when you serve it with, where's my salt? I call it fat salt. It's the kind of salt that when it comes out is really big, not just little regular salt, really fat salt like that. And here is what I think is the best summer meal ever. Zucchini blossom fritters. This is some leftover meat that I had in the freezer. I just cut it up. Everybody gets just a little snippet of that. Fresh tomatoes from the farm stand. And instead of doing deviled eggs, I just slice the eggs in half and put a little bit of that cheese that, that southern, what is that cheese called? The
pimento cheese.
Pimento cheese, of course, the southern cheese. So I've got the southern cheese and the wonderful tomatoes and those glorious Italian zucchini blossom fritters. So that, to me, I would rather have a meal like that than the fanciest restaurants. I do not miss fancy restaurants right now because I'm gonna flip this one right over here. We're just having the best food, and I think that a lot of people are finding that. Is that what you're finding?
Well, I definitely, yes, have been eating and trying some new recipes, and this is great inspiration. I do miss my friends with the fancy restaurants because they know how to do it best, but I'm learning, and a recipe like this is great inspiration. Thank you so much, Mary. It looks delicious.
Great other recipes using zucchini. This is the Zucchini Frittata, and that's on our website, virginiaeggcouncil.org. And this actually is one of my favorite summer sandwiches. It's a scrambled egg and zucchini sandwich on a big, thick piece of fresh tomato and basil on the side on a hoagie roll. And then, of course, everybody has a recipe for zucchini bread. Go ahead and make it now while you've got the zucchini. And we're going to be enjoying this on Wednesday because eggs have their own day now, Jessica.
That's right.
Wednesday.
We love the Wednesday, and this gives us some great inspiration. And I promise you, from this day forward, Mary, I will never look at the zucchini blossom in the same way. My crop won't be so bumper next year because I'll be just getting all the blossoms to begin with.
There you go. And the recipe will be on your website as well as ours.
Thank you so much, Mary Rapoport from the Virginia Egg Council with another fantastic recipe and some great inspiration. Great to see you. Thanks for inviting us into your kitchen.